Hi, I'm Kate from Pupil Slicer, and I am the primary songwriter of that band. I play guitar and I sing. Um, and um, our new album, as of time of recording, is out in 2 days, which is pretty exciting.
And lots of traveling coming up.
Yeah, we're heading out on tour with Ellen and N and Worn Out across the UK starting on the 25th of November. So that's going to be really fun getting the tracks out there in a live setting and hoping they go well. And also just meeting people who've heard the album at that point and seeing what they think about it. It's always fun to see what the fans think.
Anything United States travel wise planned yet?
Nothing coming up yet. But I don't know if we'd be allowed in the US, to be honest. So.
No, I understand completely. I'm sorry to hear that. It's, enough of that. Sorry. You described Fleshwork as conceptual, but not a concept album. Can you expand on that distinction? What makes the record conceptual in spirit without following a strict narrative structure?
Um, Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. The I think my main idea on that is that there isn't a narrative through line between the tracks. It's more of an anthology piece of different vignettes, all sort of exploring similar themes and topics about humanity's own cruelty to itself, um, the ways in which our society uh, treats people more like numbers and instruments in sort of the grander uh, political games going on, and the ways that really the people who sort of are in charge of our society are incentivized to cause people to war with each other and sort of infight as opposed to as a means of distraction from like the real issues plaguing our society and things like that. So I think there's a sort of yeah the sort of general ideas going on.
The album tackles systemic cruelty and the erosion of humanity under oppressive systems. How do you balance that political and societal commentary with the deeply personal emotion that runs through the record?
Um, yeah, it's I think in general I tend to write about things that seem to affect me personally more because then when I have personal experiences tied up in things, it ends up um more emotional of a performance anyway. I don't tend to tackle things if I don't feel like I have the authority to be speaking on it. So a lot of these things are about um uh stuff like the way the benefit system works in the UK and how disabled people are treated in the media over here. Um, Stuff about how queer people are treated in general around the world, and yeah, in general, I think a lot of it comes from a personal space of and I think the emotional core comes from there because it's sort of it is general, but yeah, yeah.
Fleshwork seems to merge the chaos of mirrors with the melody and structure of Blossom. What lessons from those two eras shaped your approach this time, both musically and lyrically?
Yeah, the I think with mirrors we were sort of finding our feet in a way, and we didn't quite know exactly how we wanted to execute the ideas we were doing. Um, and then with Blossom, it was definitely a lot more. Um, uh, we went like more conceptual and sci-fi. We tried to go for fancy, shiny production on that album, and really make it um into that kind of direction with stuff. And we while that worked for that record, I think with this album we wanted to go more back to a more sort of feral, unhinged kind of sound that was a bit more in your face and um sort of capture a bit of that like raw energy that we had on Mirrors. So I think it's sort of a bit of the best of both. I think the songs are more aggressive than they've been before and uh more blunt, I suppose, but they have the songwriting experience we gained on on Blossom as a sort of an anchor to make them come across better. The hooks stick more. The I think the songwriting is a lot better on this album in general. Or not better, but more refined. And I think that the songs are better off for the experience we've had on both the first two albums.
With Luke Booth joining on bass and contributing to the writing process, how did that dynamic reshape the band's chemistry and influence the sound of Fleshwork?
Yeah, Luke, it was a fantastic addition to the band. He slotted in really well. Um, I think it made the writing process really smooth. I think this is the easiest record we've had to write so far. I think I wrote a lot of the bass and drum parts on the first album, less so as been maybe like 50-50 or something on the second one. And then on this one it was mostly all Josh and Luke writing their own parts. Which was really cool because it took a lot of the pressure off in terms of having to like micromanage every part of things just because I think we all understand where we're going, what we're going for. We've been working together for so long, and then Luke's just slotted in and really like understood what we're going for with that, and that's made the sort of the process really seamless and yeah the I think the albums come together really well. I think this album was written a little bit more holistically in terms of um it was more um things being written together, like riffs jammed out together, as opposed to ideas fully formed in advance um by me and then brought to the others. It was a bit more back and forth and uh contributive between all of us to really get the songs into the best form they could be. So yeah, I was really happy with how the writing process went for this album.
You worked again with Joe Clayton at No Studio. What was your gear setup like this time around, and how did you and Joe capture that balance between industrial precision and organic chaos in the studio?
Um yeah, working with Joe was fantastic. I can't remember exactly what the setup was, but it was definitely more, I suppose, nasty than we've gone before on any of our tones. I think we ended up with a combination of like a couple different amps. On this album, all of the guitars were done it with room mics in front of amplifiers and stuff. Whereas before we've used sort of digital solutions for our tones. And I think the sort of analog warmth we got from that and the final result, I think it's some of the coolest sounding guitars we've had. Um, and the same with the bass. I think this kind of sound wouldn't have suited what we were writing on Blossom anyway. But for this record, I think it really works. There's definitely a lot more in your face. The bass tones were really cool, and with the drums, we really wanted a sound like the drums were right in the room with you. We wanted really clear cymbals and stuff because I love a really clear um sort of I don't know untamed drum sound and a bit less clean sounding for this album, a bit more raw and yeah, I was really happy with how the production turned out.
Fleshwork as a song has already proven itself live. How does it feel to bring such emotionally and sonically intense material to the stage? And do you approach performing these songs more as catharsis or confrontation?
Definitely catharsis. I think our live shows are kind of a give and take with our fans, and I think they're a very fun thing. It's different recording them where there's quite heavy subject matter on a lot of the songs, and they come across well that when performing them in the studio it can be quite difficult sometimes, and the live setting is completely different to the studio because all of that catharsis has happened, and then it's just sort of the fun catharsis of getting out there performing on stage with people giving energy back, and it's a really like communal atmosphere and really fun. I really enjoy our live shows, and I think our fan base is filled with wonderful people, and it's great to be out there performing with them and getting a kind of positive energy back from them whilst performing.
If Fleshwork was somehow turned into a video game boss, complete with soundtrack and attack moves, what would its ultimate finishing move be?
Um, oh, that's an interesting one. Um, I'm not sure. Some kind of I mean, there's the running theme of fire through the album, so I suppose some kind of big engulfing everything in fire and burning everything away. Type of thing, I suppose. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. You have any final thoughts you'd like to share with anybody that might be watching, listening to, or reading this?
Yeah, our album is out November 7th, probably out by the time this comes out, and you can head to pupilslicer.com for listening to it or buying it if you would like to.